I'm Dave Fromm, and I'm a professional high-stakes poker player, and I'm going to show you the secrets that up until now, only a few of the world's top players fully understand that are necessary to beat games with 6 or fewer players. Oftentimes, you'll find yourself with a really marginal hand on the flop, but a scare card will come on the turn which may allow you to steal the pot. In these situations, knowing what the scare card is and how to best take advantage of it is key in winning play. Let's take the example when everybody folds to the small blind who raises, and you're in the big blind with jack of spades, 10 of spades. You decide to re-raise him, and he calls. The two of you take the flop for 3 bets each. The flop is queen, 8, 7 with no particular suits. The small blind checks, and you bet, and the small blind check raises you. You decide to call with your gut shot draw, also recognizing that if you catch a jack or 10, your hand very well might be best. Once again, in these blind-on-blind confrontations, it doesn't take a very good hand to win the pot. Instead of hitting a jack, 10, or 9, an ace comes on the turn. If your opponent bets out again, you should strongly consider raising him on this card. Notice that the ace is actually a really good card for your hand. Not only is it really scary, since you very well could have played a hand like ace 10 this way, where you just called his check raise, see one more card on the turn, and then raised him when you hit the hand. If you do get called, you have a multitude of outs with now a double gut shot draw, since a king or a 9 will give you the nut straight. Finally, you still might be able to win the pot if a jack or a 10 comes off and your opponent was playing a hand like king 7 or king 8. If you likely had the best hand on the flop, but a scary card comes on the turn, you got to think about what a bet means to your opponent. The primary things to think about are how much action went in on the flop and how many opponents actually saw the flop, because the more of action and the more players, the more likely it is that somebody has the draw that's probably coming on this turn card. Finally, you should think about what kind of hand your opponent figures you to have. Here's an example that I played in a 300-600 game to illustrate this point. A tough player opened with a raise, and I re-raised him with pocket kings in late position. Only my one opponent called. The flop was the 10 of spades, the 5 of spades, and the 3 of diamonds. My opponent checked, I bet, and he called. Now the turn is the ace of spades, and my opponent checked. Because my opponent's a tough-thinking player, what are the hands we could be calling with on the flop? An ace is definitely one of them. A hand like ace-jack or ace-queen, these are very likely hands for him to have. Also, if he had a spade draw, he just got there. That said, if I have the king of spades, you should probably check the hand, since a free card is not that risky to you. Remember, if he has a smaller spade, he very well might bet it on the river, and you can raise him and collect that extra bet. Alternatively, if you're against an ace, you're going to wish you checked it if you bet it and get check raised. Finally, if you do decide to check pocket kings here with the king of spades, you may be able to induce a bluff from a hand like pocket queens or jacks on the river, and obviously this collects you an extra bet, especially if he would have folded to your turn bet when the ace comes. This is probably the case if he did not have the queen or the jack of suit. Interestingly, if you don't have the king of spades, your hand is a lot weaker. Because of this, it's essential that you try to bet the turn. If your opponent does check raise you, your decision is very complicated, and you must decide whether to give up the hand or to see it out. Of course, when you find yourself in these types of situations, you need to understand if your opponent is capable of semi-bluffing you with a hand just containing the king of spades, like king of spades, queen of diamonds, or if he really does have an ace or a made flush every time. Despite the fact that your opponent could be check raising you with a semi-bluff, typically in this spot, if you bet and are check raised, it's time to fold. If you're not already badly beaten and the spade comes on the river, putting 4 spades on the board, your opponent will assuredly bet because he's a tough player, which puts you in a very tough spot where you're only left to shake your head and make a crying call because you have no flush and you don't even have top pair on the board. So in this case, with his check raise, he's really committing you to probably 2 more bets throughout the hand, and you don't have a lot of outs, and you don't know where you stand. So folding is probably the right play.